Good morning, everybody. Um, where to leave off at? I keep making so many videos trying to remember where I left off at. I'm pretty sure we talked about with the timing stuff and everything. I've come to a conclusion that I kind of got to take it back apart a little bit. Um, so yeah, let's talk about what's going on here. Okay, so as you can see, the motor's been kind of taken back apart, and I've added a few things and made some changes. Let me back it up a little bit. There we go. Um, Man, it's 50 degrees here. It's cold for me in Florida. All right, so we'll start with the timing. You can see the timing's been taken back apart. Everything worked out pretty well. Wasn't too big of a deal as far as putting timing on and taking it off. But the reason I'm doing it is, first off, this guy here, the timing belt guide. Um, it's been told to me that I need to get a proper timing guide. I called IAG again to sorry, distractions. I called IAG to get some more discussions about a few things and asked them about what to do with the timing guide, and we'll talk about for these cam gears for the non-AVCS, the exhaust side. And they gave me some suggestions, and then I talked to some of the guys. I'm part of a Discord for Get a Dom Tuning, and there's some pretty knowledgeable guys in that Discord. If you guys check that out, they also suggested. So, timing belt guide. I said, get it. This one's a little too flimsy for the better belts like the HKS and the STI Kevlar pink one and the Gates Racing. They said these ones, they're fine. I mean, it works. It's a timing belt guide, but the aluminum ones, the billet ones that all these companies make, are just tougher in the way that it conforms with the belt, and these things over time can get a little bit warm and move a little bit, and I guess that's just better. I mean, it's a $40 part. I guess it doesn't really matter. Might as well pick it up. But the next part of the timing stuff over here is these guys right here. These exhaust side for the single AVCS, these are composite plastic. There's technically nothing wrong with it, especially with mine, but they are plastic. From what I'm understanding, you are going to a tougher timing belt. Along with that, you are increasing the RPM. And along with that, the biggest thing is these cams. These cams and the valves and the springs and everything are much tougher, which in turn puts more stress on these plastic parts. Along with these parts being, I have a 2006. I'm assuming these are the original ones. It's become brittle over time. It's plastic. So it's possible that these could break. And if these break, I now have a $10,000 paperweight. So, funny enough, I don't know if that's a normal option. Excuse me, a normal option to just replace those, because I only found one company that actually makes them, and that's Roger Clark Motorsports, RCM. Through Flat Iron Tuning, they sell it in America. They make a billet aluminum piece or something like that, a metal piece to replace those two. It was like $230. It wasn't too bad. I guess the common option people usually do because of that is they go with aftermarket cams, aftermarket cam gears, so that you can adjust adjustable ones. Those are metal, but because they're adjustable, you got to set them and all that stuff. So I'm not planning on messing with that kind of stuff right now. So we'll stick with those metal ones. So that's what I did. Replaced this and the cam gears for the plastic. So I had to take the timing back off and go to that. Not a big deal, because once I did the timing once, now I'm comfortable doing it going forward. It was just interesting that this side was under pressure when you set the timing. Number two. Not too big of a deal. I started putting some sensors in and whatnot. Covered up this stuff properly now. On this side, so this will be the right hand side, passenger side. On this side here, the AVCS lines. There was an issue, right? So on the B25 head, let me just set it up real quick. On the B25 heads, remember these are the V25, so B as in boy. The AVCS line and feeds the turbo itself and AVCS, right? So you're going to connect here. You're also going to come back around the back of the engine where the turbo usually sits. This will connect here, and then this will go to your turbo. You'll run a line to the turbo, usually a flexible one. But the problem is, on these heads, this line goes right into this hole, which was exposed. This hole is what changed on the V25. So, on the V25, you basically have one line that runs here to that hole, and that's it. Then you have a second line that's separate that basically runs from this hole to the turbo. And obviously, if I run the B25 heads, it covers this line. I can't put a plug in there or anything because it actually touches, this line touches that hole. So in this case, I have to order the V25 AVCS line that goes from here to the actuator for the AVCS. And then for the back hole, FP turbos provide you an actual line coming out of that, so I don't have to purchase that back one. So that was another thing that I came across. Alright, I'm going to cut into this video real quick and explain something. When I'm talking about this exhaust header, I later found out after doing, getting farther ahead in the build, that it's not necessarily the exhaust header that was the problem or any other issue. It's the Athena head gasket is a little bit thicker, and on both sides it made everything about 2 millimeters or so longer. And the reason I know that now is because the exhaust manifold, the intake manifold, I had the same issue. It did not line up on the TVG holes, so I actually had to go through and drill the holes on the actual intake manifold and I made them bigger, but then I did like a left, right, on the drill, passing up the drill bit as you normally would when you do that, to kind of expose a little bit more of the hole to get things lined up, to get things to line up. So it wasn't anything wrong with the parts or anything. It's just that Athena head gasket was thicker, which made things kind of spread out a little bit. So I just want to put that in here. And then for the other side, the AVCS line is the same for both style heads. It just bolts right up. That was pretty simple. But I'm sorry, it's kind of dark, guys. Got the garage door closed. But I had to take off this plastic piece here just to get to the bolt to install the AVCS line. So that's another reason why I had to take the timing stuff off. And the last thing that I ran into was putting on this big old piece of metal here, this the exhaust header. I guess because of the heat cycling and it being off for so long, it kind of shrank. And what I mean by that is the two exhaust holes on each side, they kind of bent in a little bit, so they didn't line up to the 3 holes on each side. So I tried to force it by forcing the bend, but it's a pretty tough piece of metal to try and bend onto those pieces. So I kind of messed up my header wrap a little bit, and this is where in this case, the Tomei, I don't know what you would call it, the bracket that kind of keeps the two pieces together. It's like slipped on. It kind of keeps it together. So I took apart the 4 nuts that are on each side here and loosened it up. It didn't seem like it actually did anything, but I don't know, maybe it did. And then I took some, just some basic propane torch, and I heated that area up, sent it to slip. And then I kind of, again, I put the header on just the tip of the studs, and put something underneath it so it didn't slide down fully onto the studs. And then on this side, I kind of just pulled, and eventually it came on. I did have to use a rubber mallet to kind of help it. Not ideal. I didn't really want to smack this with too much force, and I didn't want to put too much stress on the bolts. So I'm hoping once it heat cycles, it'll kind of open up a little bit. So that was kind of a pain to do, and now I messed up my wrap. I might have to buy some more just to wrap that area. I don't know what I'm going to do with this thing. So I'll work on the back end now. I guess we'll go here. So you're going to have the up pipe for the turbo. I'm going to work on getting the turbo side set up since I can't do much with this area yet because I'm waiting on some parts. And once those things come in, we'll get going. We'll get more of it done.